So that means Harris is likely to win. Yes, for this episode, I specifically looked at the birth charts of the 7 of them. Let's start with the underworld. China is in the 9th cycle, while the United States over in Xi'an is in the 4th cycle. The 4th cycle represents the Zun hexagram, which signifies older women, specifically those over 60. What about the potential for female politicians to rise to power? The likelihood is already very high, of course. You mentioned that those who are educated and have made money also fit the criteria for being officials. Trump is somewhat related, but he will never be the main character. That's how I see it from a broader perspective. However, an interesting thing is that as for Kamala Harris herself, the self-born in the Jia year has a fate that recognizes water, and Jia Cheng is described as having a food god self-destruction in his entire birth chart. All the grassroots individuals, or those we see who have risen to power but have a lot of dark history, are basically characterized by the killing of the god, and his birth chart contains 2 instances of food god self-destruction. In fact, we can see that many great figures who take the world stage are influenced by the concept of the god of foods killing. Wow, that's impressive. The person has just turned 60, marking exactly 1 complete cycle of 60 years. He is stepping into this new 60-year cycle, and in the context of the heavenly stems and earthly branches, he is referred to as Jia Shu Yue in terms of the luck cycle and annual cycles. What kind of situation will emerge based on his own birth chart's month pillar and the 4 time periods above? Fighting is just fighting. Of course, we also know that Kamala Harris is originally a lawyer, and beyond that, she is a person with a strong fighting spirit. The key point is her birth chart, which I think I will elaborate on later. I'm not sure if it's convenient to discuss it here. Hey, I want to ask you, senior brother, if Jia Chen is his 10-year difference, then he is a water element. Have you looked at Trump's birth chart? What does his chart look like? Okay, will there be a profound relationship between the 2 of them? In any case, it's just fun, right? There is indeed a profound relationship. As for Trump, he is associated with the earth element, which conflicts with water, and this conflict is quite significant. 2 factions are also separated by a significant margin. Don't you think both are relatively left-leaning? They are in direct opposition. As for Trump, his fate is not something to be underestimated. His profile is very large, and his birth chart is exceptionally strong. Moreover, he has formed some trine aspects, especially this year, as he has just entered a major fortune cycle. His entire birth chart and the earthly branches will reveal what silver, martial energy, and the torch of the mountains and rivers indicate. Fire represents fame and prosperity. It generates earth and is very strong, extremely strong. However, do not forget that we are entering a period dominated by fire. If a bus loses its balance, then what will it lead to? If it leans towards one side, it can be extreme for others as well. His own competitive spirit is also extreme, but for a person to achieve success, they must have something to help them. Well, I can clearly see that the next 3 years will be like this. With such a strong fire element, if he were to really take office, he would face disaster. His fiery and heroic nature is so intense that, well, he would actually be in decline. Well, if you look at it from the perspective of fortune, you can see that he has just entered a period of great fortune, which is like wielding a powerful weapon. When the fire is very strong, isn't it easy for problems to arise when it reaches an explosive point? Isn't it like an accidental discharge that could harm him? He has both hit the target and activated something, so what is it that hurts him? Well, he has just entered this phase of fortune. A man is not afraid of going to prison, he is afraid of coming out of it. Yes, he is afraid of coming out, so when he just enters this phase of fortune, it ironically leads him to misfortune. If the topic shifts to the 2023 election, and such events occur, without the support of influential figures, it could be quite dangerous, and the danger would be significant. So, looking back at the entire political landscape, I think, well, first is my own opinion. And secondly, I feel that because its fortune is still present, I think there is no problem with this. Everyone can have their own viewpoint and can engage in some discussions with us in the comment section. Because we feel that the occurrence of certain events is not just about guessing which person will come to power, as we can see a trend with each president's rise. Could it be that in the future, women will truly be in charge? We can see from Kamala Harris's entire astrological chart that she has a combative disposition. Well, She is a very aggressive person, and we might see some conflicts in certain areas. Is it because of the rise of this woman? Then I tell you, Kamala Harris, what you see here is that her fate chart above the Grim Reaper is connected to our yin, yang, and 5 elements. Well, there are negative aspects, but if there are elements in one's fate that can achieve a balance, then the overall configuration is elevated. The third type is somewhat similar to the significant fate configuration of Donald Trump. The fortune is quite favorable for him. This means he has a good fate. In Bazi, what does it suggest? Forming certain patterns of mountains and rivers, because we say that those with an innate destiny that shapes mountains and rivers may become famous far and wide. They are associated with fire and mountains, representing brilliance. In contrast, those associated with mountains and the color green may be more introverted, possibly becoming thinkers.
I also hope that my senior brother can make the right prediction, and when the prediction is correct, we will continue to bring this video up.
I predicted wrong, but I hope we can keep this video. Why? I believe that even if it's wrong, there should be a reason for that mistake. We can analyze it later, and I think his chances of winning are quite high. Well, let's wait and see. I hope that the elections in November can still bring about world peace, because there are too many conflicts in the world right now. Only with harmony can we go far. I hope everyone can live in peace and harmony, so that the world can progress further.